are proven processes for long-term, scalable, and predictable results. So welcome for self-selecting yourself to the intermediate section. This is going to be fun. So you basically said that you have a working knowledge of Facebook ads. You spent $500 to $2,000 on Facebook ads, and you understand CPC, CTR, and CPA, or cost per click, click-through rate, and cost per action, or cost per acquisition. Now, you might not understand what all those numbers necessarily do, but we'll show you that just momentarily. I want you to pay attention to steps number 4 through 6. This will increase your ad results by over 40%. We've seen it in lots of different industries. But first, let's go ahead and meet Bob and Jane. See, Bob and Jane own this little brick and mortar business called Launchers. And, well, they sell model rockets, just like you see right here. Now, we just met Brian in the beginner section. Now, being an intermediate, you probably know a lot of stuff that Brian already talked about, but at any time, you can always jump back and see what Brian had to say. Now, what I always like to tell people is remember, we're going to meet Ian here in just a second. But as Bob and Jane, if they, as business owners, wanted to implement these strategies themselves, they absolutely could. They're easy. We have documentation on how to do it. Or you may choose to outsource. Or you may know someone right now that would be perfect, like Ian, to implement these intermediate steps. So regardless if you're a business owner or if you'd like to outsource it, have them watch this training. Now here's the thing that I always tell entrepreneurs. If you have an entrepreneurial idea that you want to test, knowing how to test $500 or $1,000 on an idea can be highly beneficial and profitable as an entrepreneur before you outsource it to someone like Ian or an agency. That way you always know what to inspect and what to expect. I'm telling you, it's a great lesson to do. But either that you can do it or when your employees or staff are an outsourcer. So let's talk about some basic foundational things with the scale method. First of all, there are 4 keystones we're going to talk about here in just a second. And the reason is it holds everything together for our 12-step program. Now, step 1, product, service, message, or idea. Well, you got to have one of those to be able to monetize online, and they have to apply, of course, to the terms of use of the ad platforms. You want to know who your perfect customer avatar is. Who's your perfect buyer? Who's your perfect lead? Now, once you have those 2 things figured out, you're going to go through all 12 steps of the scale method. But just remember, each step is quantifiable. That means proof. Everything that we do, we can prove, did it work? Did it not work? Or as I like to say, did we successfully prove it didn't work so we won't do it again? So your product, service, message, or idea, ideally you want to offer products and services that will produce you at least $100 within 30 days. So for instance, well, Launchers has a starter kit for $100. Perfect. Now here's a quick self-assessment question. What I'm going to ask you to do is write these self-assessment questions down and your answers. It's going to give you some clues on what to do next. And as you know, success leaves clues. So very important. How many offers are you making in the first 30 days of initial customer engagement? So for example, if someone visits your website, or if someone likes your fan page, or if someone visits you on YouTube, or follows you on Twitter, what engagement do you have in the first 30 days, and how many offers are you making? Are you making any offers? Just 1, 2 to 4 offers, 5 plus in 30 days? Ideally, you want to be to those 2 to 4 offer spots. We'll cover that more in the advanced training on why. Now remember, this is all built step by step. So you want to work one step and don't skip another. Go to the second, third, fourth, fifth, and so on. It's going to compound to really drive some dramatic results for you. Now, the one thing that will literally torpedo your results, this is a big warning. This is for Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and Twitter. This is very critical to keep in mind. They're all looking for great content. These major platforms, they don't care about how much money you spend with them. They don't care about your product, and they really don't care about your services. What they care about is when you run an ad or make a post, when someone clicks on that ad or post, when that person visits your website. Is there something for them to read? Do they stay there very long? Do they opt in? Do they leave the website real quick because it wasn't right for them? All these major platforms want is to make sure that whatever the end user clicks on, that it's relevant to them. And we're going to show you how to do this in one of the best and most profitable ways possible. See, for instance, like Launchers. If they're going to talk about model rock tips to their ideal avatar, they can do it with how-to videos or the latest blog post. They're really sharing this stuff on social media anyway, so it's great to be creating this regular content, and it's really easy. You see, what happens is Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, Twitter, they employ some of the smartest people on the planet. These people are brilliant to figure out what does the end user want to see? What content do they want to see? What is relevant? See, we're going to harness the power of these smart people, the artificial intelligence, to help drive us dedicated people who are raving for our products and services. Again, we're going to let the algorithm figure it out, but we got to have a plan. So everything we're going to do here is going to have a plan plus proof. It's really important so we know what to expect along the way. Important note, One of the things is a key performance indicator. Now, most of you probably already know what that is, but these are key numbers that are going to influence other things on our dashboard, other drivers. See, knowing your most important KPIs are critical to any successful ad campaign. You're an intermediate and you're probably learning your numbers, knowing what numbers matter. Now I'm going to show you how to really move the dial up on those numbers. So you want to know your most critical numbers. Do you know predictably how much it costs for you to get a like? What about a website click back to an article or a landing page? What about a cost per action? Like, do you know what the average video view is for you? What is your average cost per lead? Or what's your average cost per sale? You see, each one of these dials is a KPI driver. I want you to imagine like you're driving in a car where you only have 4 or 5 dials that you're looking at the entire time. I mean, past the dials in the engine, there's all these components and wires and lots of different stuff that makes everything happen, but you're really just paying attention to just a handful of gauges. Well, we're going to do the exact same thing with your Facebook ads. The most important thing that I want you to remember that's going to drive all of these numbers is relevance score. Now, for Facebook, relevance score is they're actually going to show you, are your ads relevant to the end user? Google uses something like along the lines of quality score, and Twitter and LinkedIn, you're judged because of your relevance, but they scored a little bit differently. But here's the most important thing. If you always focus on relevance, number 2 is everything else. Literally imagine that we're driving down the highway of success, whether it be Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, or Twitter. Everything we're going to do, we're going to look through the lens, look through the windshield of, is this going to be relevant for the person that I'm targeting? So step 1 we covered with Brian was clearly define who your avatar is. Step 2 was really all about affinity marketing and marketing different clusters. So for example is people who might be interested in model rockets could be maybe kids or parents who are interested in model helicopters. What about remote control cars? Or the bottom left-hand side, this is a Boy Scout badge for rocketry, right? They're gonna wanna definitely launch a rocket. Or what about parents or kids who like the website NASA? Well, see, what we do is we take these different groups and we target them with an ad. Notice the blue line I have around mobile, desktop, right-hand side. Anytime you see a blue distinction where I have a blue line or something shaded in as blue, remember we're focusing on content, something that's relevant. I didn't say we're sending them to a sales page. We're not sending them to an opt-in page. We're first sending people to something that has great content. Use likes, boost post, and video views to build your branding, but make it really relevant. Send people to blog posts, use how-to videos, use Facebook lead ads or website clicks to help drive new audiences to your relevant content. Here's another self-assessment question. You currently have a set of control ads for testing. Do you know what it costs to get an average cost per like? Do you know what it is for an average website click back to your website? Do you know what it is for the average cost per lead? And can you get them predictable? Do you have control ads where you know if you run this image to this audience, it will produce you this results? It's either yes or no question. And again, it's just a self-evaluation question for yourself. Control numbers are pretty important to know what they are. I just want to help make sure that you're on the right path as well. Let's talk about steps 4 through 6. Now, what I'm going to mention here, it's possible on Facebook, Google, LinkedIn, and Twitter. The buttons are a little bit different, but the strategy is all the same. This is what makes it great and fun and just so much fun to teach. Let's jump into this. So here's the thing that we're going to expect with the end. Let's really start talking about retargeting. So step 4 in the 12-step process, we're going to talk about retargeting and custom audiences. So for example, some of the most important drivers here is we're going to find out how do we run an ad on mobile, desktop, and right-hand side. We want to split test out those 3, not group them together. And we're going to split test likes. We're going to split test boost post. We're going to split test video views. Remember, that's to build relevant content. And we can send website clicks back to relevant content as well. Now, we want to target people who clicked on an ad and read content that was relevant to them. Retargeting with relevance. Build awareness and branding, right? Let people know who you are, give them an article to read, give them some kind of content. Align your avatar's beliefs. Are they looking to learn more about X? If they are, why is it important to learn more about X? Align that belief system. Build rapport so people get to know you and like and trust you. Always provide next relevant steps. So what would be the next thing your avatar should be seeing along the path of discovery to start doing business with you? So retargeting and custom audiences. Remember, we're going to use retargeting ads you see at the very, very top here for mobile. See that retargeting ad in blue? Likes, boost post, and video views on mobile can dramatically increase relevance. It's a huge driver. Always be running likes and boost post ads to keep your relevance high. Make sure you're targeting the right people and keep that relevance high. It's going to help drive all of these other numbers. For instance, if we're already targeting people who like our page, launchers may advertise over this new model rocket kit, right? Gets them all excited. He's kind of looking at it. Ooh, that's pretty cool, right? See, retargeting and custom audiences. Now, relevance. We want to target 8+ for the relevance score. We want to retarget to build trust and brand rapport. Mobile equals high engagement and lower cost. Again, we're just talking about the retargeting ad at the very top for the likes, the boost posts, and the video views. Keep that relevance high. Again, it's a huge driver. Now let's look at custom audiences. Custom audiences are either emails that you uploaded, phone numbers that you uploaded, or it could be from people who are using your app. But this is where relevance and conversions start to converge. See, for example, they've already opted in. You already know that Rex over here is pretty dang excited about what's going on. Now, it ain't rocket science. He's seeing something that really appeals to him. I mean, look at that smile on his face. So custom audiences, we retarget for next steps in the conversion process. Because we know that they opted in. We know that we're running a target ad retargeting the people that visited the website, but we want to make sure that they're getting a succinct message. See, we can leverage retargeting and email marketing simultaneously to increase our open rate on our emails. So people are seeing us in all their different mediums. Re-engage email and buyer contacts. Always make sure that you're following up with buyers and people who opt in. All right, next one. This one really moves the dial. And this is how do we get people to the next step in conversion. Now, when I say conversions here, I'm not necessarily saying sales. For us, conversions are the next step in the process. So a conversion could be someone goes from one blog article to a second blog article. Or a conversion for us could be a lead. A conversion for us could be a sale. All different metrics, but you see that green box around that last targeting audience there? See, that green box is going to signify for us, these are ads that we're going to write that are more direct, getting people directly over to those sales pages. See, for example, if I'm already running a like campaign and I'm doing boost posts and video views, and Rex over here is already familiar with our brand, see, it's going to be pretty easy with him with a big smile on his face and having that finger right there on that button, ready to click buy, because we're going to advertise right on a desktop where it's easy to whip out a credit card, where he could ideally show it to his parents to buy that starter kit for $100. See, the next steps in the conversion process, you want to provide supporting content. Now, that could be testimonials of people who've done business with you before. This could be time urgency. Here's why it's really critical and important that you do it right now. And final steps. What other additional information do they require before they buy? Or do you just need to tell them now is the time to buy? Landing page performance, step 5. Notice these are circled in green. Our affinity groups and our custom audience and retargeting. Since we are at the intermediate level, always run website clicks before optimize for conversions. I mean, how does Facebook or Google or any of these companies know how to optimize for your conversions if it hasn't seen a lot of leads from you first? In the expert section, I tell you exactly how many leads you need to get before you switch over to optimize for conversion. It's a huge mistake that people make, but remember, it's only step 5 when we're targeting those landing pages that we're writing ads that are directly for sales. We are going to split test always mobile, desktop, right-hand side. We never bunch them together. We always test them separate until we find control ads. We're going to send people to a welcome page, and this is where we really start to segment people. Start with relevance. Welcome new people to a page. So for example, you may have a page that just shows a video of you saying, hey, here's who I am. Here's how I may be able to help you. Maybe it's an article that's going to align their belief systems. Maybe they're interested in SEO marketing and you want to place an advertisement about why SEO marketing is important for small businesses and you want to target small businesses. You already know the small business owner is thinking about marketing, so now you're aligning their belief system. Build rapport. Why are you the expert? Or why are you the person they should trust, or why are you that person who's providing that solution? And you just provide next logical steps. You don't have to sell something right away. We're building a relationship for long-term growth. That's why I put the little picture in there of the handshaking. This is a relationship we're building for long-term growth. Follow-up process. This is where we start to see a scale in the intermediate section. Now notice we're just talking about step 6 follow-up here. There's no affinity audience. We are only focusing on retargeting audiences, leads, sales, and we're going to retarget them with additional content using website clicks only, right? Very rarely do I use video views and post-page engagement unless I just want to get some engagements, but when I'm retargeting, just website clicks. I want to send them on back. Notice the blue around mobile, desktop, right-hand side. I'm going to provide them some content and send them to a content page. Now this content page could be a blog with an opt-in page. It could be a lead page where people can opt in their leads. It could be a conversion page for them to buy, or another customer touch if it's a higher end product that requires a longer sales cycle. cycle. Once people land on this page, we're going to figure out what the next logical step is. See, we're just going to move people who land on this page into 3 separate buckets. 1, people who click on the page and visit, but they don't take any other action. 2, click on the page and it becomes a lead. Or 3, click on the page and it becomes a sale. So let's talk about the follow-up process and retargeting. So retarget based on actions. Focus on the next logical steps. They may have only went to blog number 1, and then you send them over to the landing page and they didn't opt in. Send them to a second blog. They can either be a video of you, it can either align their belief system, and then once they go to that second blog, then retarget back to the opt-in page. Focus on those next logical steps. Just kind of think them out. How would the relationship and conversation grow? Deepen awareness so people are seeing your brand as well and seeing you talking about that subject that they were just reading about the other day. We always use website clicks for those next steps. Unless it's a branding play or like on a launch, you want to close out sales, we'll use video views and website clicks. That's a little bit more genius information we can get to in a later training. Retargeting strategies. You can increase revenue up to 40%. We've seen this happen in lots of different industries. Increase exposure for branding so people are more familiar on who to call or when to start joining you because they've seen you so many times. High relevance is going to lead to lower cost and leverage placement to continue the story. You know, some people in the morning will roll out of bed and look at their cell phone. I do. I'm working on my laptop pretty much from 11 o'clock in the afternoon until about 7 o'clock at night. Now after that, I don't own a tablet, but I'll open up my laptop. But there are lots of people who read tablets as they're going to bed or as they're watching their kids. So think about the different places that we can advertise to with different messages. Remember, reactivate qualified clicks long term. We spent all this other time going through the first 5 steps. These are qualified clicks. Keep following up. Do you currently have a retargeting plan for content and landing page visitors? Just say yes, you have a plan, or no, but now you know you got to have a plan. And again, we can help you with that on the live scale method training when you click on the left-hand side of that logo down there at the bottom. It's really all about having a plan and then figuring out the metrics, right? All right, key takeaway. Follow up and segment. Start retargeting qualified clicks. Segment your clicks and emails, right? Depending if someone bought or they didn't buy. Depending if they clicked on the link or didn't click on the link like an email. Or if they visited a blog but didn't go to your sales page. Start segmenting that traffic. Follow up based on actions. Now remember, Facebook's going to start retargeting audiences as the audiences get to be 1,000 to 2,000 people. And just for a couple of dollars a day, you can target 2,000 to 3,000 people. Really, for $4 a day, you can target up to probably 4,000 or 5,000 people depending on your niche. But remember, you got to start filling those segments now. So start segmenting early so Facebook and these other ad platforms can learn from your traffic. Draw out your follow-up strategy for ads and emails. So when someone opens an email but they don't click on the link, what email should you send them? What about if someone clicks on an ad, lands on a landing page, but they don't opt in? What ad should you send them? Segment audiences based on engagement. Start to write down your control numbers and follow-up numbers from ads and emails. You want to figure out what are your average numbers. What's your average cost per like? What's your average cost per lead? Average cost per sale? Average cost per website click for content or website click for a landing page? Or how many people opened your last email? How many people clicked on the link for your last email? Knowing some of these control numbers, you can dramatically know where to turn the dials to make a big difference. Now, most people just stop here. Myself, we always kind of wonder, I know Ian's probably saying the same thing. What the did people stop here for? They've gone through all these other processes and they just stop. And it doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. And I'm going to show you here in a minute, but there's a lot of wasted time, energy, and you will not face those frustrations anymore because you've watched this training and you're going to grow much smarter. Watch, let me show you how. See, the scale method, the genius part we're going to go over here in a little bit is we're going to start with that weekly content. We're going to build from the weekly content to leverage the artificial intelligence in a very, very, very big way. Now, again, at any time, if you want to join our free online training coming up on the live scale method, you can go ahead and click on that logo right there. Like if you feel that you have some questions about retargeting or pixels or how it's set up or how to run those retargeting ads, definitely join us for the live scale method training that we have coming up. And it's free. You just register for the workshop and we'll give you the time and date when we're going to do it. Now, if you want to at this time, you can go ahead and jump to any level. If you want to go to beginner, a little more from Brian, it's great. If you're intermediate and you know that, hey, I got to implement this first before I go to genius, great, just hang on a second and I'm going to show you what the next steps are for you to take as an intermediate. Now, if you're interested in what the genius part of the training is, remember, we do have some foundational parts that will sound a little familiar at the very top here, but just to get everybody on the same page. So when you jump over to the genius, we're going to focus on steps 7 through 12 in a really big way. I wanted to make the training really fun and easy so you can choose your adventure at any time, or if at this point you want to choose to declare yourself as an intermediate, thank you. You can click on that icon right there and it'll take you over to the free training. Again, click on the icon at the bottom left-hand side of the screen. Remember, there are 4 keystones: product, service, message, or idea. We've gone over that. The perfect customer and avatar. Well, we've gone over that. And the scale method, the 12 steps. Now, remember we talked about in the beginning, it's all about proof. So let's talk about that proof. See, each of the 12 steps here, there's a driver and a number associated with each one of the steps. So you know exactly what you need to do next and what you need to improve on. See, each part of each step. So for instance, step number 4 right here, when we're talking about retargeting. Well, when we're running retargeting, there are key benchmarks. You want to know, okay, what are the important KPIs at each step of the way so you know what dials to turn that influence everything else? We have each step documented with videos, documents, templates, KPI guidelines to know exactly what to do. We've broken it down from beginner, intermediate, and genius. You see, we have these drivers and we show you exactly what to do next. You see the benchmarks on the right-hand side, BIG, beginner, intermediate, and genius. It shows you exactly what to test as a beginner and what to start improving as an intermediate. Here's the other thing as well too. We're gonna show you what your budget should be. Now, let's say we're testing a dark post. Well, we want to test for relevance. What's the first thing we should test? We'll test images first. Second is headlines. Third is body copy. But we show you in exactly what order to test. Now, some people say, well, wait a minute. Why are we doing this again? What's the overview here? We have a strategy overview. So we're talking the same common language. Again, this applies for every single step. We're also going to show you specific strategies and tactics so you know what to do next. Here are the key takeaways that you can implement as soon as you're done with the training. We're also going to give you important resources. These are links to people that we leverage, that we use, the tools that we use, so you know exactly what next steps to take. And we have case studies. These are case studies where you can match up your story and hear how real people have done the exact step that you're on right now and their success story. In each training, we're also going to give you momentum steps. So you always know if you're moving forward, how to move forward at the beginner level, intermediate, and genius, and we're all also here to help. But these are all the documented trainings. So self-assessment question. Do you have a written out plan on business on how to scale your ads and business in the next 6 months? I mean, I know a lot of people want to scale their business in the next 6 months. They want to make more money, but they don't have a plan on how to do it or how to quantify that plan. Do you at least have your plan written out? Or at least now you know you need to, or you deserve to, or you're required to. And it depends which way you want to look at it. But just go ahead and write that answer down. Remember, you can join our live training anytime that you want for our next upcoming training. Just click on that left logo on the left-hand side there. And remember this, you're gonna receive a digital copy of this mind map, steps 1 through 5 when you join us in the upcoming live training. This is gonna take you through the beginner and intermediate sections, step by step. You're gonna get the document. Also, we're gonna pay you to implement the Genius Scale Method. Well, we'll pay you $1,000. I'll give you all the details on how you can implement, become successful, and I'll pay you for it as well too. I also want you to meet the amazing staff we have that works here as well too. They really are genius experts. Shecky with the hundreds of clients he's talked to for us, consulting and accountability, Nick with tracking, technology, design, I myself talking to you personally for strategy, and of course the legendary Ashley, aka Pepper, your resource concierge. I also want you to connect with geniuses. I know some brilliant people. I've spent years working really hard with my relationships. You know, some of these people are responsible for millions of dollars in funnel optimization, LinkedIn marketing, YouTube marketing, Google AdWord marketing, press releases, video marketing, copy, questionnaires, surveys, quantifying audiences. I want to introduce you to the people in the interviews that I've had that have influenced our business that I know that will influence yours. And of course, we have the Genius Society. This is with people just like you and me and all of us, where we get together and we talk about scaling our business, scaling our ads, working on separate platforms, figuring out how do we adjust our funnels to maximize profitability. And let's be honest, if you have a good product, service, or message, you want to tell the world about it. And we're going to show you how to do that too, because you get to hang out with people just like us inside of this great online community. So go ahead and join us at any time. You can go ahead and join the live training by clicking on any of the screens right here. Remember, it's a free online upcoming training. You can also click on that logo right there that says live, the scale method. Click on that logo. It'll take you right on over to registration. Or hey, if you want one more opportunity to jump to that level or jump back, I'm going to give you that opportunity right now. Again, we always want to give you the ability to choose. So if you want to go hang out with Brian a little bit, spend a little bit more time with Ian in the intermediate section if you want to go back, or I'm going to introduce you to our resident genius here in just a minute. Go ahead and click on one of those options that fits you best now, or you can join us on the next live upcoming training right here. Look forward to seeing you in the live training.